Okay, so we are going over the rules for experience and luck today. Primarily focused on experience. Luck's a very small part of it, but I will explain that. In the Magitech Chronicles, we don't have a traditional level system. So if you've played games like Dungeons & Dragons, you're used to your character getting second level and then third level and so on and so forth. In this, you just get experience and you can spend it to purchase whatever you want, really. If you would like to buy up skills or buy up attributes or buy new spells, all of that stuff is available. You get to choose how your character grows. You can even buy all the other paths abilities. So if you really admire your spell sniper in your group, then you can ask your spell sniper to teach you the snipe ability. You can spend the experience and then learn how to do that. So we'll start with how do you get experience? And that is the role of the GM. And I assume you're probably the person that's watching this. Very few players will take the time to watch videos like these. If you are awarding experience, my goal is to give a roughly equal amount to everyone. I'm careful about giving people higher or lower amounts because if you regularly single somebody out and give them extra experience, it will cause resentment in the group. At the same time, I do like to reward role-playing, and if somebody's disengaged, I don't want to give them the same experience as everybody else. So I award XP primarily for people playing in character convincingly. That's the number one way they can award experience. If they accomplish a major story goal, I give experience to everybody. So let's say, we're 3 sessions in and they've seized control of the starship. At the end of that session, because they took the starship, I might give everybody in the group, let's say, 4 extra experience. Might give a nice little chunk. If they make players laugh during a session, especially with an in-character action, then I will often flag somebody for an experience point because, keeping people humorously engaged is a wonderful way to add realism to your games. If they suggest a plan or action that really makes a difference, I will tend to award XP for that. This, in my experience, has gotten less engaged players more engaged. If they know that they're a part of the planning process, that can mean they get additional experience, and they contribute more, and they're less likely to disengage. If somebody encourage someone in the group, in character or out, in a way that is really strengthening the culture of the game, I will tend to award experience. So even though that has nothing to do directly with the game, I'll give it to them. Your job as a GM is to take this list, decide what you want to keep and what you want to replace it with. If you want, you could give them experience for encounters. They kill a dragon and they get 10 XP. You definitely can do that as well. You choose how your players get XP. As long as you're consistent, that's only going to be really up to you. You have complete freeform control over how you're awarding this experience. Once those characters have the experience, this is how we're looking at spending it. So if they want to buy up a skill, let's say they've got ranged at 3 and they want to buy it to 4, it's the current rating times 3 experience. So if it's 3 times 3, it would cost them 9 experience to buy it up to 4. Attributes are a little more expensive, you can see, and then defenses are the most expensive of all because they're very, very powerful. Miracles and spells are both fairly cheap. You're going to see people buying a lot of these. A new skill, just to buy it at 1, only costs a single point. And then you see a T next to all 3 of these. That connotes training time. You have to actually spend time with a professional who's already mastered that, teaching you that skill. And the amount of time is really up to the game master. So you can say it takes a week. You can say it takes, overnight. You can say really whatever fits your campaign strategy. But I want it to be almost a training montage for them to learn one of these. And the reason for that is a mastery is a level above. If you're mastering a skill, that's incredible, and you need to study with a master to do that. And then the other ones are if you buy a path ability from your archetype or a path ability from another one. So if I was a warrior, and let's say I'm a war mage, and I want to buy a tech mage ability, that's going to cost me 12 experience. If I am the same war mage and I want to buy snipe, that's going to cost me 20. So it's much more expensive to get something from across archetypes, but it is possible. And in general, I think you're going to see a lot of players when they figure out how useful this is, pick up other abilities. So as an example, if we were to jump into, I think I even have Warrior up. Let's view this real quick. Okay. So if we look at Warrior as an example, War Mages are going to start with innate spells, spell riposte, and devastating strike. So they've got a great setup, but they're not very defensively inclined. There's nothing that's buffing them up, and they're charging into melee. So they don't have spell armor. Their defenses are low. They've got good hit points, but I mean, they're, danger Will Robinson. So if you wanted to get around that and you were a smart war mage, what you could do is buy Come Get Some. And that would increase all of your defenses by 1. You'd be much, much stronger. This would cost you 12 experience. And so now you're leaning into Tech Mage and you're kind of dipping in and getting some of their strength. to make yourself stronger as a war mage. So you can really kind of mix and match when you are purchasing these abilities, and that gives you a lot of flexibility. Any character can really do anything. If you see somebody in your group who is a true mage and they're an artificer and you eventually want to get artificing too, you can do that. It's possible to become anything in this system. So that's how experience works. It's very simple. You will see coming soon a page 3 to the character sheet, the experience log, which will give you a great way to track all that stuff. Anyway, on to luck. So luck is a separate pool, separate from everything else, that does not replenish as normal. If you have luck, you got it because you were role-playing out a flaw. So you intentionally chose a flaw and then role-played it in a way that would get you into trouble. So let's say you're negotiating, it's a tense negotiation, and your character is kind of a douche and is just being a jerk in this circumstance, and it's costing you on this social role. It's making it harder for you to negotiate. Some of the other characters in your group are probably looking askance of you. When you role play out a flaw that impacts you negatively, if you've got an addiction and it's hitting you up in a combat situation, or during a way that would actually cause you problems, you probably got a word of luck. And this is why that luck is so powerful, and why you would kind of inconvenience yourself in that way, why you would role play out that flaw. Because you can re-roll anything, any roll at all. You can gain edge in any situation, and the most important and more common use is force an opponent to reroll an attack or a spell targeting a specific player. So if they're casting a spell or they're attacking you, you can just say, nah, that was a little bit too good, I want you to reroll that. So if they did extraordinarily well, you can take that away from them. And you can also prevent all damage from a single attack. So if need be, you can just say, nah, that just does no damage. Luck is what allows you to influence the storyline really as a player, and you get that by role-playing. So anyway, that is an overview of how luck and experience work. If you have questions on either system, please ask those in the comments. All right, guys, I'll have another video for you next week.